Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the next installment in my epic overview of all my PS2 games. This is going to be a bit of deja vu for people. Not Deja Vu 2, Lost in Las Vegas. Because I talked about them before, but there is a little bit of updating to do. And plus, you get to see the covers and everything in 1080p, which is something you couldn't see before in the last one back in 2010. So today we're going to talk about some third-person platformer games. Easily one of my all-time favorite genres. I just love this style of game because it's got everything. I mean, it has puzzles, it has great stories, it has lots of just frustrating enough action, and platforming, navigation, and stuff like that. So just great stuff, great fun. So let's take a look at some of my all-time favorites today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. And I'm sure the irony is not lost on some of you, the fact I'm wearing a Zelda shirt while talking about PS2 games. Yeah, I don't actually have any PS2 game shirts. This was given to me a while back. Alright, so let's head on down to ye old black box and we'll take a closer look at some of the PS2, all of the PS2 platformers that I've got. Alrighty, so let's begin with one that's a loving tribute / update to the classic Ghouls and Ghosts arcade game of yesteryear, and Ghosts and Goblins, which are both very similar games. We have Maximo, Ghosts to Glory. Yeah, if you want to check this one out for yourself, it actually is available on the PlayStation Network in a downloadable version. So, if you got yourself a PS3, you can check that out right now. And there you go. I still actually have to pick up the PSN version just for, or do I already have it? I may already have it, actually. I don't remember. I kind of raided the PSN a little while ago and just loaded up on classic games. But here we go. So we got Maximo Ghost to Glory. If you've played the old Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts, you pretty much know what to expect here. The only difference is this is a third-person platformer rather than a side-scrolling arcade hack and slash. But very much has the same feel. You're fighting ghosts and zombies and skeletons and stuff. And if you take too many hits, you end up running around in your polka-dotted underwear. And just like the old games, but updated for the, at the time for modern consoles. There was a sequel as well, Maximo versus the Army of Zin. For some reason, that one has not been re-released on PSN. I don't know why. They only did the 2. It would be nice to have the second one as well. And sadly, I never got around to picking it up on the PS2. And what can you do? Rose, my 7-year-old daughter, actually really likes this game a lot, and she plays it fairly often. Alrighty. So next up, really an underrated gem here. And I'd love to see this get a re-release as well, just so that the modern audience could enjoy it. We have Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. I love this game. This is so much fun. I mean, it's massive. It's, for the most part, free roaming. You've got just huge environments, and there's 2 different ways to play. You play primarily as Sphinx, the sort of the main hero there, but there's also levels that you play as the Cursed Mummy, where the Cursed Mummy is basically indestructible, so you use different things like fire and electricity and stuff like that to charge his body or burn his body to activate different things and solve puzzles. So quite cool and quite funny too. I mean, of course, he yelps. It's very cartoony, and he yelps and screams and stuff, and pain is funny. Whereas Sphinx does more sort of the action and platforming type stuff. But really good game, and if you're able to get your hands on this, I highly recommend it. If you're a platforming fan like I am, you will absolutely not be disappointed by this. I'm really surprised that this didn't get more notice when it came out, because it really is one of those hidden gems. Just a terrific game all around. Good times. Let's just zoom back a little bit here. Oh, don't want to spoil the surprise. All right. Hold on a second. Just move those over. Here, I'll move them over here, actually. There we go. Now we can pull back a little more. Oh, There we go. So now we can just put those over there. All right. Maximo. Okay, so next up, so those two are multi-platform, so you might be able to find them for whatever system you happen to have. I don't know that they were released on PC, but they were released on the major gaming consoles at the time. What is that? Wires. All right. So let's see what we got here. So first up. Now this one, this is where the updates come in. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of these have been re-released on PS3 in high-def upgraded form. So I'm not going to say that right now. All right, so the next three are basically Sony exclusives, so you can only play them on PS2 or PS3. So here we go. We'll start off with this one. We've got Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. This is a good, straightforward platforming game. This is fun for younger players as well because it's not overly difficult compared to some of the other ones we're going to be looking at. So this is a good kind of entry-level 3D platformer for kids. Not to mention a lot of the humor and stuff in it is a lot of fun for the grown-ups as well. So I really enjoyed this series a lot. And really nicely done cel-shaded graphics. So it really does feel like an interactive cartoon that you're playing. It's very well done. Now this is one of the cool things about the PS2 version is you actually do get the Thievius Raccoonus with it. I mean, it is the instruction manual, but it's full color and gives you all kinds of useful info about the game and hints and tips and maps and stuff like that. So, how to do all the different moves, and yeah, very, very cool. Very cool to have that. So, yeah, so Sly Cooper spawned a couple of sequels. We also have Sly 2, Band of Thieves. Yeah, so essentially more of the same. I played the demo of this a while back, really enjoyed it, and then finally got around to picking up the game. And really cool. In this one, they mix it up a little bit in that you can actually play as Bentley and Murray as well. There's some levels you can play as them, whereas the previous one was mostly just playing as Sly. And another chapter of the Thievius Raccoonus. Oh, two. Yes, we have the. This is the French version, actually. There you go, French. La Thievius Raccoonus. And then here we have just the regular, very similar to the previous one, just a little bit more info about some of the new stuff you can do. There's a bunch of Bentley's moves there, and I don't know. Maybe actually, I think you could play as Murray in the previous one for a few levels, but this one also lets you play as Bentley, which is pretty cool. Do some hacking stuff. So, very cool. Love Sly Cooper. Now, I never did get around to picking up the third one. I really wanted to, just in the interest of having the third volume of the Thievius Raccoonus, but never did. However, they did put out the Sly Collection on PS3. So this has 1, 2, and 3. What was the third one called? Honor Among Thieves. There you go. So this has all 3 of the original PS2 games. However, upgraded into high definition. And also, you can play them in 3D. So how cool is that? So you got absolutely everything. Now, the instruction manual here is far less exciting than the one that came with the original PS2 versions. It's not in color, and actually only half of it is in English. The other half is French. So, welcome to Canada. Yeah, so there we go. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. But yeah, really, really cool. These games definitely benefit from the HD upgrade, and they look fantastic. Oh, and I see you can use the PlayStation Move as well. I wonder how that would work. But yeah, so pretty much all things PlayStation you can experience with the Sly Collection. Very, very cool. Not only playing some classic games, but playing in 3D, playing with the Move, whatever you like. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, fantastic collection there, and well worth it. And then, of course, just for completeness sake, they did do a 4th Sly Cooper game entitled Thieves of Time, which was exclusively on the PS3. And looks like... Oh, that's interesting. There's like a PS Vita version as well that you can download. There, so... Oh, in this case, we didn't get a manual at all. So they went from awesome pack-in content to slightly less awesome to no pack-in content at all. So there's your instruction manual. It's the back of the insert. Woohoo! Exciting. Yeah. And to date, this is the last Sly Cooper game. I don't know if they're ever going to do any more. It may be done now. But anyway, if you got a PS3, you can get all 4 games in 2 tidy little collections there. Or if you want all the pack-in stuff, you can of course try to track down the PS2 originals and such. So there you go. Very cool. All right, so next up, we have, this one's a lot of fun. So I guess going in terms of difficulty, start with Sly Cooper, and then if we head on up a couple notches, we have Ratchet and Clank. Love Ratchet and Clank. This is probably the longest running of all the all the PlayStation exclusive series like platforming games, that is. So they did 4 on the PS2, they did 2 on the PSP, and then they did, I think, another 3 or 4 on the PS3 as well. Possibly 5, I don't know. But anyway, there's a lot of Ratchet and Clank games. This is where it all began, though, with the very first one. And we have, now this is interesting, instead of just a regular manual, we actually have a fold-out poster. Oh, I won't be able to show you the whole thing, but there you go. Beautiful, very nice poster. And then on the back, you got all the manual stuff. So pretty cool. Now, how do I fold this all up again? Like that. There we go. All right. Okay, that wasn't such a chore after all. So just slide that back in there, and there you go. So kind of a novel way to present the manual. Very, very cool. Ratchet und Clank. And then we have the sequel. We've got Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. I don't know how well you can see this, but nice shiny ink on the cover there, kind of metallic. You can see, yeah, you can kind of see there. But yeah, Going Commando, really cool. In this one, this is where the game really gels, and they really refined the, in particular, the power-up system to what it would continue to be throughout the rest of the series. We have, whereas previously, if you wanted to power things up, you had to purchase power-ups and stuff like that, and certain power-ups in the first one you could only get at a particular store, and that particular store would only appear on a particular level at a particular time, and if you didn't know where it was, you couldn't go there, and you could never go back. Yeah, big pain in the ass. All that malarkey is not present in the second one onward. They just made it fairly straightforward. So the cool thing I like about this, the way you upgrade your weapons is by using them. You just keep using them a lot, and eventually they will upgrade themselves. So very, very cool. So if we take a look here once again, oh, that's interesting. I probably pointed this out last time. I actually have the original Black Banner case, but I have the Greatest Hits disc. Obviously, someone at EB Games wasn't paying attention when they packed that up. All right, so here we got a couple of pack-ins. We'll take a look at this one first. We have, what is this? Is this actually a pack-in? Oh, hold it a second. No, this is something else. What do we got here? Oh. It's the original receipt from whoever bought it originally. Now, I bought this from EB Games, but here we have a Future Shop receipt. How cool is that? And I kind of wonder what was originally in here, if there was anything. It's just an envelope. That's it. Interesting. So when was it originally purchased? January 1st, 2005. Wow, 10 years ago. Well, thank you, whoever bought it and then traded it in at EB Games and gave me your original receipt. How much was it when they got it? 20 bucks. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think I got it for 20 bucks used. I have no idea. But then we have just a fairly straightforward game manual, but beautiful in color. Yeah, this is the kind of game manual you really don't see much of anymore. This is really, really quite beautiful. Very, very nice indeed. But yeah, sadly, just doesn't seem to. It just seems like the manufacturers are cutting back more and more on production costs for packaging and whatnot. So, you don't get all that nice stuff anymore. Then we got the third one, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Yes, notice the double entendres in the titles. Yes, quite. So again, more of the same. Essentially, this is just a straight sequel to the second one. It is a continuing story, by the way, so ideally you do want to play them in order. So very cool stuff indeed. And then here I think we just have, yeah, so in this one we've actually got the instruction manual like this. They always got to do something a little different, eh? And once again in full color. Very nice. I cannot recommend this series highly enough. It's I've always enjoyed it for the humor and for the action. And just the gameplay. The gameplay is really rock solid in these. I mean, the controls are really intuitive and easy to get the hang of. And you can get a USB headset. There you go. And it's just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. And then finally, the last one on the PS2, we have Ratchet Deadlocked. Now, this technically is part of the story. However, it's not an integral chapter. I mean, you can skip this and go to other ones. However, I don't recommend skipping it because it's a hell of a lot of fun. In the previous two games, they introduced arena combat, sort of as a means to help upgrade your weapons and get some other stuff and whatnot, and just accumulate money for buying power-ups and stuff. But the arena combat levels, I guess, were so popular and so well received, they decided to do an entire game based around that idea. So that's what this is here. So Ratchet and Clank go to a planet where it's essentially an arena combat planet, and they just do arena battle after arena battle after arena battle, trying to up their way through the ranks and stuff like that. But really cool, and they also you get a couple of robot helpers that help you take down excessive amounts of enemies, and a lot of fun indeed. I enjoyed this one a lot, actually. So here we've got, very dark and spooky. It's got the registration card there. So here, just a fairly straightforward manual. But once again, at least, in color. And the thing I like about these old manuals is they're thick. They really, they're meaty. They give you a lot of content. I mean, look how much text is there. That's just tons of documentation and, backstory and information, and gameplay tips and all kinds of cool stuff. So really, really cool. I love these old manuals, and this is one of the reasons I like to make sure I get them whenever I pick up used games, is because they're great. I mean, they're a wealth of information and often quite nice to look at. Wow, there wasn't a lot of actual artwork in this one, was there? It's supposed to be dense text, information you need to know. So there we go. So, as with Sly Cooper, Ratchet & Clank recently got the high-def treatment on the PS3. So this contains the first 3 games. We've got Ratchet & Clank, Going Commando, and Up Your Arsenal. Now, if you're wondering about this one also got a high-def upgrade. You can only get it as a download, though, via the PSN store. So, yes, I do have this one on the PSN, and I have to say, all 4 of these games actually really benefit from the high def upgrade. It looks fantastic. I mean, it's always a very, very well realized, detailed 3D environment with lots of detail. And apparently no manual. Did I get no manual? I could have sworn there was a manual for this one. It's possible it's hidden somewhere. Rosie likes to play these a lot. She loves the Ratchet & Clank games. Or it's entirely possible there was no manual, which wouldn't surprise me. Because, as I say, for all the gorgeousness of the old days, we just don't seem to get a lot of that nowadays. Might have been one of those downloadable manual things. But anyway, very cool. And you can pick up these collections pretty cheap now, too. Like, generally, these high-def collections, I think when they originally came out, they were about $30. Now you can get them for like $15, $20 if you just shop around a little bit. And as with the Sly Cooper collection, this one is 3D compatible as well. Finally, last but absolutely not least, easily the most difficult and challenging of the three major Sony exclusive platformer series, we have Jak and Daxter. Now this one actually isn't too difficult. This is easily the easiest of the three, but but definitely still a challenge and a lot of fun. Really good stuff. I mean, this is really just classic platforming action set in this crazy fantasy / sci-fi world. Just a great set of characters. Daxter, his sidekick, is absolutely hilarious. Could have been a really annoying character, but really isn't. He's genuinely funny, and will keep you laughing the whole way through. So here we got the very first one, Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. Now these ones you definitely want to play in order, because it is very much a continuing saga. I actually played through the entire trilogy on Twitch a little while back. I need to repost those in some form. Just going to try to unfold everything. Alright, so first off we have kind of a poster there. Very cool. And if we flip it around, got an ad for Sly Cooper, and then we got credits and some other info. But then on the back, we actually have a map to the entire world that the game takes place in. This is a lot of fun. If you enjoy, you know, your platforming action with a distinctive old school flavor to it, set in a way out fantasy setting, again, cannot recommend these highly enough. This is one of the all-time great series, and with good reason. It's extremely, extremely well done. And absolutely a joy. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of looking at these and thinking that they're, like all these games, and thinking that they're just for kids because they're rated E for everyone. They are not just for kids. In fact, there's a lot of humor in here that reminds me of the old Warner Brothers cartoons. Kind of subversive. Like, it'll go over the heads of the kiddies, but the grown-ups watching will get a chuckle out of them. Then we have Jak 2, where things went and took a very dark turn from the previous one. Where the previous one is just sort of straightforward, happy, colorful, fun fantasy world. This is where things go bad. Things go dark. And this is easily the most difficult of the trilogy. It took me a few tries to get through this one. But boy, what a rewarding experience, because it is a fantastic story with some just terrific action. Now this is where they kind of took a cue from GTA, where this entire game it's all free roaming, and you can go anywhere, do anything pretty much. You got vehicles added into this. There was a little bit of vehicles in the first one, but a lot more in this one. And then here we have just a straightforward instruction manual, but once again, full color, very nice. Excellent artwork in here, and this is also where Jak gets his Dark Jak powers, so he gets some additional abilities there that he can use. That's him as Dark Jak. Very, very cool. All different moves you can do. Oh, there you go. There's kicking it old school. Old front-loading PS2 right there. That's awesome. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, and I guess technically it wasn't. I mean, this PS2 was what, like early 2000s? That's, well, I guess 15 years ago. God, time flies when you get older. Alrighty, and then finally we round out the trilogy with Jak 3. Again, very much a continuing story. Do play them in order, because you'll get the most out of them that way. And now Jak 3, once again, he has his Dark Jak powers, but then they also introduced Light Jak powers. So each one adds a new element to it. This, again, is very much free roaming. It's a much larger environment than the previous one, though. You've actually got these wastelands. It's got kind of a Mad Max vibe to it that you can bomb around in these overpowered dune buggies and stuff. Jak 3, the book. Oh, and we've got Les Livres. That's the French version of the manual. Something you often get in Canada land. And then here we go. So nice, colorful manual there. Very nice indeed. Yeah, once again, my little one actually really enjoys this one, just in particular for the wasteland levels, because she can just bomb around in the dune buggies and stuff, and she enjoys that a lot. As do I. There's something to be said for just bombing around the desert in a dune buggy, you know. And then, of course, we wondered if it was going to happen, because It happened with Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank, but lo and behold, we got a high-def upgraded version of the entire trilogy. Now, I should mention, there was, much like how Ratchet and Clank had a fourth game with the arena combat, Jak and Daxter also had a fourth game, which was called Jak X. They also had a couple of PSP games. They had one called Daxter, and then they had another one called The Lost Frontier. The Lost Frontier did make it onto PS2. Daxter did not. It only stayed on the PSP, which is kind of annoying because the story of Daxter takes place between Jak 1 and 2. Kind of tells some of the story there. Specifically, it takes place between the prologue of Jak 2 and the main story of Jak 2. So it'd be really nice to see a PSN version of that we don't need a PSP to play. So come on, let's make that happen. And then of course get HD upgraded versions of the other two. So essentially we'd have the other Jak trilogy. I don't know why they haven't done that yet, but yeah. So Jak X was a racing game, I guess, kind of taking a cue from Jak 3. How there's a lot of races in the wastelands and stuff like that. But anyway, so once again, beautiful upgrade to this. So when I played it on Twitch, needless to say, I played this version, and it looks fantastic. It really, I mean, it was always very detailed, lush environments anyway, but seeing them beautifully upgraded in high def like this really, really gives them the visual attention that they deserve. And yeah, just a fairly straightforward manual here. Really would have been nice to see some of these pictures in color, like this one. Like, come on. I don't know. But at least we got a manual with it. Alrighty, well, that was quite a stack of stuff. Platforming action on the PS2 and PS3. You can't go wrong. Awesome, awesome stuff. As I say, I mean, you can get a lot of these on PSN now. As well as in the HD upgraded collections if you've got a PS3. So you don't need a PS2 to experience all of these, but if you want all the cool packaging, then, well, yeah, you'll have to track down the originals. But if you just want to play the games, there are lots and lots of options, and if you're a platforming fan like me, get them. Just get them. Don't even think twice about it. Just get them. They are awesome. So there you go. Quite an awesome selection. Pretty much any one of those, well, especially Jak and Daxter and the Ratchet and Clank series, are far and away system sellers as far as I'm concerned. Great franchises with great characters and terrific action. Definitely keep you coming back for more. Sadly, both series are done now, but hey, at least we've got tons and tons of games to enjoy. Alrighty, that is it for this edition. I'd like to take a moment to thank all my Patreon sponsors, especially Mr. Kyle Pellegrini, who still remains as one of my highest level sponsors. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate the support. And any of you out there, please do consider also becoming a sponsor, because every little bit helps and allows me to do more stuff like this and all the other stuff that I do. So thank you very much for your support. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. There we go. The magic power of a piece of white paper. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to yet another PS2 overview video, going over my PS2 collection and PS2 stuff and PS2. Alrighty, so and sayonara.